What's up, YouTube? The Take Five podcast. Today's topic is songs that should have been openers. All right, what you got for number five?
Well, continuing like what we did with the last episode, we basically determined there was some songs we felt like should have been or could have been the opening song of whatever particular album. And I think this is one of the ones that I may have brought up, and we'll talk a little more about this later too, is Am I Demon on the first Danzig record. Um Twisted Cane is good, but I just feel like Am I Demon's got the little bit stronger guitar riff. It's kind of faster.
Yeah,
So that's why I kind of think that's why I feel like that could have been the better album opener. Not to say Twisted Cane's bad, but
yeah,
I just always kind of felt like Am I Demon? And then plus they did a video for that song too. So
yeah. Well, see, my thing is, I love that opening guitar riff for Twisted Cane. We'll talk about that more later, but that was the first song I ever heard from Danzig, and so I was hooked as soon as I heard that. And I heard that because I think that came out before Mother, so I heard that before Mother.
okay.
And I just remember it being so good. So I just thought that was such a great album opener, when I first
It
heard it.
is. I'm not hating on it. Like I said, I
But
just
yeah, I
feel
mean,
like
I'm
just
not
yeah.
debating you. I'm just,
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
like,
I know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Just Am I Demon's a little faster for Danzig even.
yeah, right on. Like, yeah, I like it when an album starts out with like an intro, before the song. But I also like when the title track is the opener. But I do have a few exceptions that's going to be in my list. So,
Yeah.
but for number five, some of these I mentioned on the last episode, but I had Crazy Train instead of
Hmm.
I Don't Know on Blizzard of Oz. I don't know, just with the whole opening, like, oh boy, that should have been,
Yeah.
the way it opened. You know what I mean?
Even the guitar riff and the
Yeah.
dive bombs with the whammy bar. Yeah.
Like I
Good
don't know it's
build
a good
up.
song, but it shouldn't have been the opener.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. Yeah. Yep.
All right. What you got for number four?
Number four, I know I mentioned this one last episode also. I think I understand why the opening song for this album is what it was, is because it was the first single. And I think a lot of record labels kind of pushed to do that. But this was the second song on this record, which I think should have been the opening song. And we talked about an opening song setting a tone for a record, et cetera, et cetera. It's so easy. Guns N' Roses off Appetite for
Yeah.
Destruction.
Yeah. I
Like
agree
that
with that.
set such a whole different tone for that fucking record,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, because like Welcome to Jungle, it's a good song, but it's kind of the poppy. That's why it was a single. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
so easy, just fucking kicks off, man, just right off the bat. It just
yeah,
yeah, that song's pretty
absolutely.
hard. Yeah. I
And
agree with
two, I mean, I think maybe even then, maybe some of the thought in it was like, well, we got to kind of ease into that,
you. Yeah.
lyrically, it's so easy.
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
funny
it,
because
it's
they'll play that on the radio now. Man, I've heard it like on
yeah, yeah, they
like
play it on
local radio
Sirius XM
stations.
all the time.
Yeah. But I hear it like
Yeah,
on local radio stations. I mean, though they added, they added out the cussing, but still, it's crazy that you'll hear
yeah,
that.
yeah. But yeah, man, I've always thought that should have been the opening song.
Yeah. It's funny because I know like my older brother, he was never a Guns N' Roses fan, but he loved like, the three singles when they first came out. He go, man, they are so good. But then as soon as It's So Easy came on, he goes, this isn't the same band. And it is, I don't like this. He didn't like all their other stuff. Because it is like a totally different sound. It's like it's just so much
Yeah,
attitude, man.
and that's what I think then 80s, the 80s Guns and the Appetite for Destruction era is what that band was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, like I said, Welcome to the Jungle, good song. I've said this before. I don't dislike the song Sweet Child of Mine, but I can go the rest of my life
Yeah,
never hearing it again.
yeah.
I,
It's so
I don't,
overplayed. Yeah.
yeah, so fucking overplayed. Don't dislike it, but yeah. Now the rest of that, I'll listen to every song. Always skip Sweet Child of Mine.
But see, but I do that with Paradise City too. Paradise City used to be a great song, but I'm kind of sick of it too.
And I get it. I get it. I sometimes skip through it, but it's guaranteed. Sweet Child of Mine. I'm skipping through.
Yeah,
Guaranteed. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I
Turn number
agree.
four.
'Cause I remember it was just, oh man, it's like it's, and to think that that album sold so many records,
Yeah.
with a song like "It's So Easy" on, you know what I mean? It's like it just,
Yeah. Sleazy as fuck.
yeah,
You know, just yeah.
just punk rock attitude, man.
Yeah.
Just think, I mean, like it sold like millions of copies, and and
Yeah.
it's got songs like that on there. So it's pretty fucking awesome, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, my number four is kind of set both of what I like in an album opener, like an intro, but it's also the title track, "Holy Diver,"
Yeah.
instead of "Stand Up and Shout."
Yep. Yeah. I get it. Yes. Yeah.
Does that mean they got that long intro? I think it should have been.
Mhm.
Isn't like the last song on like side one or something? Like it's,
I'm not sure, to be
yeah,
honest, but I'll agree with it. Yeah. Yep. That's a good pick, though, man. I didn't see when I did this list. I had a couple in my mind already, but I'll be honest, man. I didn't really find as many as I thought I was going to,
yeah.
or maybe I didn't dig deep enough either. But like I said, I think I got a good list, man. Plus some honorable mentions.
Yeah, I was going through my catalog and picking out bands that that had like a lot of records that I liked, and then I was kind of going through. It's funny because like Priest was one band I went through. Like they did it right.
Mhm.
I think like every album opener they did was perfect for that album. So I
Okay.
couldn't find one Priest record that I didn't like and that I thought should have been different.
Well, an album I looked at too was Night Songs, and then to your point, I got to thinking about it. I was like, damn. I was like, that is the appropriate opener.
Yeah,
It's the
that's
beat of the track. It's
yeah,
moody. So yeah, that ruled that one out for me too.
yeah,
Another one, speaking of ones, the title track was which I actually took off as an honorable mention. And another thing too was like we maybe need to talk about doing an episode of the first song of Second Sides.
yeah.
You know
It's
what I
funny because
mean?
a lot of mine are first song and second side.
Okay. Well, this one I had for honorable mention. Well, I had see how I do my list is I write all my shit down first, then I'll pick my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
This one was on my list, and it's "Put a Spell on You" on the first Dirty Looks record. Now that is the first song on the second side,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I got Similar to Night Songs, I was like, no, Cool from the Wires, the right song opener because it's the title track.
Yeah.
So I agree, and that's why I crossed it out. So technically, it didn't make my list, and I even crossed it off as an honorable mention because I was like, no, I feel that was right. But I don't know, I just like that song too. So yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
Am I up for number three?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. This one, I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this are going to be. I really strongly think this should have been the first song on this band's first record. Take Me to the Top on the first Motley Crue record.
Yeah, I could.
It's
I
got the
didn't
little
think about that
drum
because I
roll
thought,
in the
'cause
beginning.
yeah, like, because I
Yeah,
think Live Wire's a good opening, so I didn't even dig into it. But yeah, that is a good pick.
yeah. I really think, and just how it's got its own little musical intro. It's got the drum roll, and it's got the dan 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 dan
Hmm.
dan dan. Then it goes into the dan 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 dan. I know
Hmm.
that's kind of fucking silly to do, but I really think that that would have been the better
Yeah,
album opener.
yeah,
And
that is a good pick.
it might have been the similar situation like you just said. Live Wire may have been the first song for the reason they did the video for it.
Yeah.
But I really think Take Me to the Top should have been the first song on that album.
See, I
The
also like
album.
when your bands, they'll have like the title track as the opening track, and then when they tour on that album, that's the song they open with.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
always liked when bands did that too.
Well, I can only imagine this is Take Me to the Top had to have been the song Motley Crue open. Well, they opened with it, I'm pretty sure, at the Us Fest from
Really?
'83. And then I can only imagine them in the club days too, opening with that song because it's a perfect fucking opener.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's a
mean,
good pick. I never would have thought of that one.
yeah, yeah. So what's
I
your number
also
three?
I also don't think I don't like albums that open up with ballads either.
Oh yeah, I see.
Like
Yeah,
I
it's
like I
got to be a
love
strong song. Yeah,
yeah, like I love ballads, but it's like it's kind
Mhm.
of like that should be like third or fourth song in, maybe, like
Right.
because if you hear the first song as a ballad, it's kind of like, well, that doesn't doesn't set the
Yeah,
mood right for for the rest of the record.
yeah. I start off with a couple strong songs and
Yeah,
cool it off, like you said, third, fourth song with a ballad if you got it on the record. Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Yeah.
I this was going to be a little bit different, but I had Thriller instead of Want to Be Starting Something.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Beat It would have been cool too, but Thriller once again is a title track, and but it has the little intro in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I
Yep.
think it'd have been a Want to Be Starting Something is like it's not a bad song, but it's kind of one
Yeah.
of the weaker ones.
And I
And that
agree.
album has so many good songs. That's like one of the weak tracks on there, and they open with that. Like I never.
Yeah, Beat It or Thriller should have been because it has this epic buildups.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so yeah, I agree. I would have never thought of that one too, but that's a good pick too, man. Out of the box, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's up to Quincy Jones?
All right.
Yeah.
What's your number two?
All right, so my number two might be somewhat controversial because it was the first song on the second side of this album. But this should have been the opening song, man, for this fucking album. Epic album. Uh, I think Hot for Teacher should have been the first song on 1984.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that should have been started it off. Yeah, man.
Well,
I
see,
mean,
that's my
Jump
favorite.
should have been, like you said, third, fourth song in or something.
Yeah, yeah. Like Hot for Teachers is my favorite Van Halen song anyway. So
I get it. Yeah.
yeah, so like that would have been awesome because I mean that's like that
It's
song's just
upbeat.
ridiculously good. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
yeah, like it's
Yeah. It's going to get your attention,
yeah,
and I said this, first song on the second side. And that was clearly a thing, back when we were kids, man. Side one and side two could be two different things, man.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of things I like side one better than side two, or vice versa, like side two better than side one. Because there's only really a handful of albums, man, that I like all the way through. So
yeah.
a lot of the time for the classic, the 80s stuff that you and I clearly grew up on. Um, it's so, but yeah, man, Hot for Teacher should have been the opening song on 1984.
There is a lot of records that did start off side two with a good one, but it seemed like
Yep.
side two a lot of times is like the filler songs.
Yeah, and that's probably on purpose too back then. That
Yeah.
was by design. You put all the good shit first or on side one
Mm-hmm.
because, most people might never make it to side
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. I know.
So yeah, you're right. You're right.
But like you said, like a lot of times, like side two is better. Like I
Hmm.
know we're wanting to do a show on that, but I know one at the top of my head that it's side two is probably better than side one.
Yeah.
All right, my number two. It's like the reason I picked this one intro, but also this is what the band's known for, and this song is kind of an anthem. But I picked "Turn Up the Radio" off of "Sign In Please."
Hmm.
Center to me is like my favorite autograph song, but it's not a strong opener because that's kind of a ballad. I think "Turn Up the Radio." I mean, that's their anthem, man. That should have been the way they started the whole thing off.
I agree, and I'm not going to act like I know that album well, but obviously I know that song, so I totally agree. And it's got the same thing, the build up.
Yeah,
It's the title track. Well, no, it's not, right?
no, that album's called
It's
"Sign In Please,"
Fine and Please, right? Yeah,
but
okay.
but it is like, I mean, it's an anthem song. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that one too. Yeah. And like I said, I don't even I'd probably know the song if I heard it, but I don't know that album that well to like
yeah,
know to remember it right now. Yeah.
yeah. I always liked that record.
Yeah. No, I had what was the one after it?
Loud, or that's the
Yeah.
stuff.
No, the one where they're like,
Loud and clear.
yeah,
That
loud
was
and clear.
that was the third. That was like their heaviest. Yeah, that was the
Okay.
third record.
Because I had that. I had that on cassette. I knew Turn Up the Radio because of the video.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any of their other cassettes other than yeah. So that's why for me, like I don't know all that much like the deep shit of autograph.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right on.
Well, so number one,
Yep,
all
you got.
right. So I'd like to believe our friend Rosie would agree with this that Deuce should have opened the first Kiss record, man. It just should have. It's a strong song. Strutter's a good song, but eh, man, fucking Deuce with Gene Simmons with the get up and get your grandma out of here. That's
Mm-hmm.
fucking awesome, man. Yeah. That should have been the first fucking song on that record, man. But once again, maybe the whole record label thing was like, oh, we got to kind of walk some people into it, like
Yeah.
because Strutter's a good song, but it's poppy, it's radio friendly-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, Deuce is, just about, sexual innuendo. So yeah, but yeah, man, my number one had to be Deuce. Should have been the first song on the first Kiss record, man.
Yeah. See, I'm not too familiar with like when it comes to Kiss, I was more like into the greatest hits type stuff. I mean, I
Yeah,
know those songs, of course, but I wouldn't know like album to album, the orders and all that.
yeah.
I was
Well,
never.
any Kiss fans that are watching, comment your thoughts on if Deuce should have been, everyone's first taste. Well, not everyone, because obviously I got into him in the '80s, but yeah, what everyone might think if Deuce should have been the album opener of the first record, man. Yeah.
I My number one was kind of the reason why we did this episode, and I talked about it last week. But I had Number of the Beast
Yeah.
instead of Invaders. Like
Yep.
just once again, man, it's the whole intro and
Mm-hmm.
like the build up to it and the
Yeah.
title track.
Yep. I
And see
totally agree. And
and
I
see
agreed
like
last week.
and that's one that I would always listen to side two first because of that,
Okay.
you know.
Now, is it
And so
I may have asked this last week. Is it the first song on side two?
I think it is, yeah. I think
Because I remember mentioning last week that I totally agreed. The first song or definitely if the first song or the last song,
Mm-hmm.
that song on that album
Yeah.
should have been the first one or the last one.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. We got for honorable mentions.
That's got a handful, man. One of them I did mention last week, I believe, also, and I had the actual opening song of this album as an honorable mention. But I think the Tesla song "Coming at You Live" should have been the first song on Mechanical Resonance. It's got the whole little guitar battle solo
Mm-hmm.
thing
Yeah.
and how it goes right into it. Like, yeah, I think that would have been very interesting
Yeah.
opening thing to introduce everyone to that band, other than the modern day cowboy video. But
Yeah.
people buying that cassette and or CD at that point for some people maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah, I always
I seen them on that album, and that's what they opened up with.
yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah. That
Yeah, yeah,
is a good way to open it.
yeah. So I got that. Another one I have, man. I'm glad I found this one. And I know we talked about it. I think you were surprised that I like this album from this band, but I think this Mountain Song should have been the first song on Nothing Shocking from Jane's Addiction. I know they had the video for it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not for that reason, but I just think that's a good, good bass line, kind of
Yeah.
leads into it. Yeah, I think that would have been a good one. Um, Here's one, man. I think LaGrange should have been the opening song for Tres Hombres, ZZ Top.
What
Um,
did what was the opener on that?
Waiting on the Bus.
Yeah. I agree with you on
Which I
that one.
like that song, but
Yeah.
that should have been, like you said, one of the middle songs, 3, 4, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
LaGrange should have been, yeah, man, the opener for Tres Hombres, man. Um, And the last honorable mention I have, you and I have talked about this song specifically, and I listened to it yesterday. And what I think is cool about it, a couple reasons why I think it should have been the opening song. It's "Thick and Thin" from the first Black Crowes record, "Shake Your Moneymaker."
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to it yesterday. There's a little like a intro, like a car crash. You hear
Mm-hmm.
like a car crash. And
Yeah. Yep.
what I think would have been fucking cool is if the car would have been playing the song "Shake Your Moneymaker," the old song "Shake Your Money," like on the radio or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Then the car crash, then
Yeah.
right into "Thick and Thin,"
Mm-hmm.
because that song gets your attention, man.
Yeah.
It's upbeat, it's boogie woogie, sets the tone. I mean, but once again, probably the record label with, you know, Jealous Again opens that record, right?
Yeah.
Um, maybe that was the why it, you know, Jealous Again opened the record. I don't know, but yeah, man, thick that car. I said, man, that would have been brilliant had it been playing the old "Shake Your Moneymaker" song, like hearing it on the radio, and then the car. Fuck.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, those are the few honorable mentions that I have.
There's one I forgot for good album openers, and when I was going through this, I'm like, holy fuck, I should have had that. Black and Blue, Nasty Nasty.
I would have to hear it again.
Starts out with a bass, then he spits a fucking loogie.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like, dude,
Yeah.
that's a great way to open an album,
Yeah.
man.
That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not too familiar with that record, because I know you're big into them.
Well, I like them. Yeah, but no, I'm not too big into. I'm not saying that I don't like them. I just really know that one record. I mean, had it, but I didn't really listen to it, and it's one of those bands I need to like catch up on, man.
See, Nasty Nasty was always my favorite record.
Okay, when did that one come out? In the 90s?
No,
Okay.
it was late '80s sometime.
Okay. So it was like their second, maybe third, fourth record.
Let's say they did the self-titled, then they Without Love, Um, then it might have been Nasty Nasty. Then they did In Heat. I think they only did what, 4 records or something
Yeah,
during
I'm
that
not
time. Then they did
okay.
one later, but yeah, it was late 80s.
Okay.
Okay, Ronald mentions like Thunderstruck isn't a bad opening, but I think Are You Ready would have been better.
Okay, for that album, yeah, yeah. Um, I was into that album back then, kind of, because a dude, I was in high school still. Me and a dude that one of the first dudes I ever even jammed with, who played guitar. He was really into that album. So yeah, I agree with that.
Then back to Black and Blue, I had Chains Around Heaven.
Yeah, like I said,
It's
once again, I just don't know a whole lot of their stuff.
oh, dude, that song's so
Yeah,
good. Instead of, and they opened it with Strong Will Always Rock, but like Chains Around Heaven, it's just it's it's just heavy. It's fucking, it's so good, man. So catchy.
right on.
Then I had Great White Shot in the Dark
Okay.
instead of She Shakes Me. It's kind of ballady, but it's, starts out, thunderstorm and all that. And then, got
Yeah,
like a
that's
keyboard opening.
yeah. It's because I haven't listened to that album in fuck, I couldn't tell you how long. But yeah, everything you're saying is reminding me. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's the last song on side one thing.
Okay.
Then I mentioned this one last week too, but Defender instead of Fighting the World from Manowar.
Metal War. Okay.
Now this is the exception, because they did open up with the title track, but the long intro with Orson Welles, the narration, before the song started, I thought it'd been a cool way to open it. Then I had Generation Clash from Accept off of Eat the Heat instead of Ecstasy.
See, that's another band that I'm not that don't know a whole lot of their stuff. I like shit I hear, but yeah,
Yeah, that's a band I figured you'd be into.
I do like. I yeah. I just don't. The only couple albums that I kind of know is the Russian Roulette, the one with like the mechanical heart, and Balls to the Wall. I mean,
Well, Boss of the Wall is by far the best. Um, this album had a different singer, and I had Center of Eternity instead of Bark at the Moon.
okay, yeah, yep.
And then I had we talked about this one, but Call of the Wild from Circus of Power instead of Motor.
Hmm. I could see that, and it kind of goes to that was the first video single, whatever.
I
So
just love that opening guitar riff, man.
me too. Yeah, yeah.
So good. All right, that's all I had.
Well, here's one that kind of tell me what you think about this. This is the first song on the second side, and I think it's a great song for that opening that second side of this album. But what do you think about Bad Seed opening up River Runs Red?
Yeah,
You could see it, right?
yeah, because it has
Yeah.
the intro, which I
Right.
like.
Yeah. And it's real moody. Then it starts off, then it picks up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been a good. So I mean, it was the opening song on the second side, and that's an album that has like, and I think you'll agree, it has a flow to it on
Oh
purpose.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but I thought about that one the other day, and then I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it was meant to be the order that it's in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, well, that came out when CDs was, a thing, but like some of these other ones to talk about was, vinyl or cassette, where it did have side one and side two, and and they would start off side two strong,
Well,
but
I had that on cassette. I was
yeah,
still getting cassettes then.
yeah. See, I
Yeah.
had I had it on the CD, but but it came out early 90s, which by that
Yeah.
time, CDs were big, but yeah, but like I said, like then a lot of bands would start off strong on side two, and that was a good way to start off side two.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to ask your thoughts on that one. Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's just that, like we said last week, like this time is just it just starts off just fucking hard, man. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Both sides have great openers. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
All right, album of the week.
yep. So this is kind of picking up with kind of made a little sense since we both kind of went back and forth with the opening song of this album. The first Danzig record came out in '88. Um, picking up from the Sam Hain, uh, ended up getting, different people in it. I'm glad it became Danzig. Um, we've talked about this too, and you agree. The infamous Rick Rubin production, got a very distinct, a lot of people refer to as like a dry production. Um, just different record for that time. Not what I don't believe this was ever what anyone that was into the Misfits or Sam Hain would have expected. Um,
Yeah, because like most people that I know were like one or the other, not both.
mhm,
And
yeah.
see, like I, because I wasn't really into punk at that time. I didn't. I got into Danzig before I got into Misfits and Sam Hain. I had to go back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, great songs on it, man. Like you said, Twist of Cain, amazing song. Am I Demon, amazing. She Rides, Not of This World. Um, I even looked up when I looked up earlier that song, The Hunter, was an
Mm-hmm.
Albert King song, and some of the dudes that were credited writing that song, obviously with Albert King, was dudes that ended up in the Blues Brothers band.
Damn.
Yeah,
You know,
but
Great White did a cover of that too, right?
I didn't.
Yeah,
Or either I didn't or I don't remember. I mean,
yeah.
fuck, I'm 49, man. Come on. Uh, but yeah, man, back to Danzig, I remember. So I'd seen the video for Mother, liked it. It was, kind of like similar, like what you said that time about first time you listening to Shout at the Devil. You're like, like what is this? Like
Mm-hmm.
should I be scared? Like, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
But it was so my eighth grade year, there was a teacher that came in and he was a young dude. He was like maybe 21, 22. He was into skateboarding. I was into skateboarding then. I mean, I wasn't getting good at it, but me and my buddies in the neighborhood always, pushed around the neighborhood on our skateboards, listening to music. But he was the one that got me actually, he's the one that got me hip to that Danzig record, that Jane's Addiction record. And he also made, and I think I've talked about this before, he made for me on cassette a copy on side one. One side was Cro-Mag's Age of Quarrel, and the second side was Agnostic Front Calls for Alarm. And for the longest, I had that cassette for the longest. And last I remember, it had to have been like 20 years ago. Your brother Shane had it. And so what's happened to it since? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, and I doubt Shane even knows. But he was the same teacher, was the one that got me to like want to go get that Danzig. And yeah, man, I'm really glad I did because that's it when it's brass tacks of it, man, it's rock and roll. It's
Bluesy
fucking
as
rock
fuck.
and roll. Yeah, bluesy rock and roll. Yeah. See, when I say rock, and I know everybody has different thoughts, but to me, like bluesy is a part of rock.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So yeah, yeah, I loved it, man. Getting it. Um, Still listen to it to this day. Chuck Biscuits on fucking drums. Yeah. That's the classic Danzig lineup, man. Erie Vaughn on bass, John Christ on guitar. Fuck, man. Yeah.
yeah. Some of my favorite songs is "Twisted Cain," "Evil Thing," "Not
Yep.
of This
Yep.
World," and "My Demon." And we've mentioned those a few times. But
Yeah.
my I remember I went to my dad's on weekends, and I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch Headbangers Ball. So
Okay.
I'd either record it at my mom's
Hmm.
house, or I'd have friends record. I remember a buddy of mine, shout out to Jimmy, he just came up here a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah.
I remember he recorded Headbangers Ball for me that night and seeing Twist of Cain. And it was like the guitar stood out, but soon as the
Yeah.
vocals hit in, I'm like, it like caught my attention. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, this is different.
Yeah.
And it's like, like I, 88, I'm used to, Guns N' Roses and,
Absolutely. Me
Poison,
too.
vocals
Yeah.
like that. And then hearing this, it was like, it was kind of, I noticed in 1988, though, my taste of music started shifting because you had, I got into stuff like Dead Milkmen, Dirty
Hmm.
Looks, Cool from the Wire came out,
Yep.
King's X, the Circus of Power record, Zodiac Mind Warp,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Slave Raider, like 88, all that shit came out. I was like, man, 88 was a good year for music. And
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of, in my opinion, that's when glam started dying.
I see why you say that. Yeah.
Because, at least with my taste, because then in 89, then you had like, a new wave. Then you had like Tough and bands like that came out. But by
One.
88, I was, I moved on, and it's like, and because
Yeah.
I think Jet Boy first record came out in 88.
88. Yep.
And it's like, I mean, it was a good year for rock and roll, man.
Yeah. A lot of good albums came out. I agree, man.
Yeah.
The LA, the first LA
LA
Guns,
Guns.
the
Yep.
January of '88, but still '88.
Yep.
Um,
It's funny. I remember,
87, '88, and '89, man, were the three prime years for me, man.
yeah.
Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat in '87, LA, all the bands you just mentioned in '88, '89, Junkyard, Dangerous Toys. Yeah. Another LA Guns record, '89,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember, the guy that got me into music. I remember, when LA Guns came out, I was like, because he always was the first one in the neighborhood to buy this shit. And I was
Yeah.
like, what do they sound like? He's like, if you like Guns N' Roses and Faster Pussycat, you'll like LA Guns.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can see it because like I fucking loved it. And it is kind of in that vein.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so back to the Danzig, I saw today on Instagram, John Christ posted uh like a flyer bill from a show date, a tour that Danzig did with Slayer, and it was Slayer, Danzig, and Junkyard. Now, I was guessing that show had to have been 90 or 91 is what I was guessing, because
Mm-hmm.
Slayer and Danzig both had albums out in '90. Junkyard, it come out in '89. But I hit Amy Joe up with it, and she was like, "No, that tour was in Slayer and Danzig was in '88."
Damn.
And then so Junkyard was technically, I believe, signed by Geffen then, but the record hadn't come out. So they may have just been on that one because the show was in at the Hollywood Palladium. So maybe Junkyard was just on that show and it was coincidence. That's the one John Christ posted. Or maybe Junkyard played a handful of California shows, but I don't believe they were a part of that tour. That tour was Slayer and Danzig, and that would have been fucking amazing to see in '88.
Yeah. That's an
Slayer for
odd
South of
lineup
Heaven.
though. Yeah, like that's an odd lineup, man. With Junkyard and Slayer, man. Like, not that Junkyard
Yeah,
is bad. It's just open for. I mean, it's hard to open
yeah,
for Slayer.
I would have been about it though.
I know,
Seeing those
me
two
too. But
bands,
I'm saying,
yeah.
like it's. I mean, it's well known that it's hard to open for
Slayer,
Slayer.
yeah, Slayer fans just want
Don't give a
Slayer.
fuck about anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
they want
yeah,
Slayer. That's it.
yeah. Fuck you, where's Slayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. So, yeah, that Danzig record clearly made an impact on a lot of people. And that's where it started, man, with that record. And something different for that, like I said, different for that time, different from the other thing you already said, from what Glenn Danzig had done prior. So yeah. And just simple. Everything about the album artwork and the videos, the songs,
Hmm.
everything's just simple.
Yeah,
That's part of the why I think it's so good though, too.
yeah.
Just stripped down, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like when I first heard those vocals, it was like, you know,
Hmm.
I didn't know if I liked it or hated
Right.
it, but it caught my attention. I
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck is this, man? I was like, and I remember buying it on cassette, and was like, man, like this dude, this is so fucking good, man.
And that's part of the vote, like you said, the vocals, part of the reason why I think it was so different for 88.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Rick Rubin knew what he was doing, bringing that on and being a part of that, man.
now how far did you go with Danzig Records?
The first two.
See, like I like the
Yeah.
first four.
Yeah, the first two. Yeah.
So you didn't even like How the Gods Kill? See, I thought that was a good record.
I may know a couple songs off of it, but that came, I'm assuming that had to come out in like 92, How the Gods Kill.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I similar like certain things you said, like my interest had already started, going into other styles, like more into hardcore. For a brief around that time, I don't know, it was some death, I believe. But I had seen Dan's. It had to probably that album or that the live one after it, because I want to say it was like 93, 94 ish. I saw the first time I saw Danzig.
Hmm. See, I seen him on the How the Gods Kill tour. Caius.
See, I might have been when I saw him then, because I vaguely remember. I mean, fuck, man, it was 30 years ago. I know you remember a lot of that shit more detailed than some that I do. I mean, there's some I do very. When I say some, I'm meaning shows and seeing bands 30 years ago, 25
Mhm.
years more um, than others. But it might have been Danzig and Caius. I might have seen around then too. Then because I like Caius back then.
Oh
That's
yeah, that Blues to the Red Sun is
yeah,
fucking awesome record.
yep. But yeah, seeing man, I remember Danzig playing at the Newport. Also had to been in '88 because I would see
Yeah.
whatever the newspaper would have every Thursday would have upcoming shows like at whatever venues in Columbus.
Hmm.
So I would always look at the Newport. I never got to go to any prior to 1990, unfortunately, but I remember seeing Danzig play there, Suicidal, seeing those bands back. I've seen both those bands at the Newport, but seeing them in like 87, 88
Yeah.
on those particular albums would have been just fucking awesome.
Yeah, I remember them playing in '88. I can't remember who opened, but I remember it was like kind of like a big band, but I can't remember who it was.
You remember someone in 88?
With Danzig, yeah, at the Newport. The show, probably the show you were talking about.
Okay. Slayer, probably, because it was Danzig and Slayer that toured in 88.
Well, I remember the first time I remember Danzig playing here, he was headlining the Newport. Maybe then it might have been off of Lucifuge then,
Oh, very possible.
but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, the show I'm thinking of, they were headlining.
Okay.
So I remember I had nobody to go with, so I didn't go because I didn't drive, so I didn't have nobody to go with, and I missed it.
Yep.
Remember I think I went with a friend or something for How the Gods Killed, but I remember I wanted to see him, and I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't remember who they played.
Mm. Yeah, let me know if you find it. Let me know. Let me know.
I will. Right on. Anything else?
No, like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who's watching. You know, comment, at least say hi, just so we can kind of see who,
Yeah.
who the following is. You don't have
Yeah.
to leave like a long message, and like Amy Joe supports every show, and
Yes.
we totally appreciate that. That's awesome. So
100%, man.
just say hi, if anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. All right. Five
All
and
right.
out.
5 and out.